And yeah, Thursday all day, everybody. How you doing? My name is Shapiro. I am that guy on, well, I was going to say TikTok, but I'm on all the platforms answering your traffic and police questions. I'm not just that guy. I'm the TikTok traffic cop. I am a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I work at traffic services, which means I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. I hope you're having a great one. And we're going to make it better because we're going to answer your questions. If you've got them, please ask them. That's how this works. If you are on, well, let's see. The list of available options is endless-ish. If you're currently on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, or the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, well, it's easy-ish. Everything except Twitter will allow you to ask us questions because we have the magical moderator, my wife, who is currently taking your questions on TikTok and cutting and pasting them over so we can see them on the other platforms. Anyway, get us your questions. The alternative to using Twitter, by the way, is to go over to YouTube. That's the best option. You go onto YouTube, you can use the link at traffichop.ca, or you can go to youtube.traffichop.ca and just jump on in. Then we get to see your questions and throw them on screen. Like when Tim Shallow says good morning, we get to see it on screen. It's just magical. I love it. I love it a lot. This morning, we were on Spanish-speaking radio. We were on CHHA, which is 1610 on the AM dial. They're in Toronto. They're a community radio station that, of course, is Spanish-speaking. So we had, with the assistance of an interpreter, because I don't speak Spanish, at least not well enough to communicate in anything other than hello and I'm thirsty. We were able to talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and bring that to a community that has not been hearing from us for a while. So we're really excited about doing more of that. So if you are a Spanish speaker and would like to have access to that, it's going to be on Thursday mornings. Today's Thursday. Yeah, anyway, we've got Avandra, who was actually watching the show earlier, who came back in, my Brazilian fan. That is awesome. Welcome to the next segment. Let's see here. He made a comment about he's occasionally upset about the fact that people complain about tickets. And rather than taking responsibility for following the rules. And I agree with you, my friend. That is exactly what the biggest problem is. I say the biggest problem is that people don't take the responsibility. Really, the biggest problem is that people choose to break the law or break the law not knowing the law, which is really why we're here. We're here because people need the education, even if they don't want the education. Anyway, let's talk about something that's really important, and that is Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Where are they? What are they doing? What are they all about? I am going to tell you. They are a dedicated group of officers who are focused on the Big Four. The Big Four, of course, speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving, and those are the driver behaviors that lead to serious injury and death, according to statistics and stuff like that. So where are we and what are we doing? Well, they are focused on Vision Zero efforts in 12 Division and 33 Division. I say Vision Zero efforts. What does that really mean? Vision Zero is a concept, and it's a focus to try and bring down the number of serious injuries and deaths on our roads to zero. It's a really good plan, because if you're looking at anything other than zero, well, it's just not a good number. If you were to, try and come up with an appropriate number of people who we could make acceptable, like how many people is it acceptable to lose on our roads annually? Well, you might come up with all sorts of numbers, but if I asked you how many people in your family you would donate to this number, it would probably be zero. It's different if it's people like, or otherwise care about. And the truth is that any death on our road is too many. So we're really devoted to the concept of reducing serious injuries and death on our road. Anyway, they're going to be in 12 Division and 33 Divisions today. They're in different divisions every day, and we post that every morning on our traffic services, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Where is 12 Division? Well, it's Weston, Mount Dennis, Rockcliffe, Smythe, neighborhoods like that. In 33, it's Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills. There are people who live, work, and play in those neighborhoods, and they deserve to be safe. Now, that's not an exhaustive list. That's not every neighborhood. That's just a couple because they had hashtags that I found and I shared because people know what they are. But if you have a neighborhood that's in those that's served by those divisions and you'd like to be included in the hashtag, let me know, because we want to be able to let people who are in those communities know that we're there to help them. Okay, Stephen Bell says, good. Well, I jumped. Hang on a second. Oh, I want to go in order. Okay. Stephen Bell had said good morning, but you got me at the last show too. Akela Draconis with a greetings and salutations. Stephen Bell has confirming that my microphone is doing better. I don't know. It might have been me being a low talker, not wanting to yell at the interpreter who was helping us out. But it might have been me. I don't think I did anything different in setup in like 20 minutes ago, but whatever. I'm glad that the microphone is doing better. Thank you for letting me know. And Ian says, good morning, sir. Don't sir me, sir. The Grinch coming in from Twitch with a good morning. Oh my goodness, it's Ryan Pinn. Ryan Pinn, good morning. First time, long time. It has been a long time. Ryan is a Nova Scotian who is a driving instructor and an all-around good guy, and has been a regular participant in the show forever and ever and ever, but we hadn't seen him in a while. So his questions are always based in humor. I want to preface before I read this. He says, is it true that stop signs with white borders are only suggestions? He's joking, folks. He's joking. Yes, all stop signs are stop signs, and I believe all of them, well, they should all have white borders. Does mine have a white border? It has a white border. I can't tell if my voice is getting better or worse as I progress through whatever kind of bug I've been dealing with, but it's changing. More phlegm. I've got more phlegm than I did last week or last couple of days, and I know I'm oversharing, but I can't help it. All right. We have a question. I'm flagging some questions. Questions about lane splitting. Let's see here. Can you tell me about vehicle out at intersection? Okay, we'll talk about that. Oh, it's Jermaine Watt. What's going on? Now I'm gonna mess it up if I say is your account Flying Cop or a cop that flies? Let me know so I can promote you and tell, because you do a cool program. Actually, we've got to get you in the studio to talk about your program, and we've been talking about it, but we haven't scheduled it. So let's schedule it and make it a thing, because Jermaine is actually teaching kids to fly. Pilot cop. I would look it up if I was not too occupied with doing other things. Okay. Question about how many collisions are based on speed alone. Ian says, I'm just a civilian now, so I outrank him. Ian is a retired officer. Okay. We're going to continue here. Flagging things about tinted windows. We always talk about tinted windows. Okay, let's see here. Back to school hack. Is that what that is? Is the back to school hack when your kids go back to the petri dish called school and bring home everything under the sun? See, I used to be a court officer, and I say used to be a court officer because when I was a court officer, I didn't get sick. I was sick for the first 6 months of working in a jail environment, and then I never got sick again. Well, I guess now that I'm an office guy, I'm eligible for germs, but I don't think I was impervious. I had the strongest immune system back then. Also, I was 20 years younger, but what does that got to do with it? All right, we got questions about exhaust pipes. Oh, it's TPS Pilot Cop. That's the account. Check him out. He's on Instagram, and if you're on other platforms, plug it here. I assume Twitter and all that. But he's doing cool stuff, and we got to get you on the show. Okay. Questions about which offenses will send someone to jail. All right, so let's go. If you're watching and you don't have questions and you just want to be the fly on the wall, cool. If you got questions and you want answers, then ask them. We take questions right until 11 o'clock, and I will stay a little longer than 11 to get through whatever kind of backlog within reason. Sometimes we go an hour and a half if need be. But if you don't ask questions, you're stuck with me talking about stuff I want to talk about. And today I would talk about Jell-O. I don't know why, but that's the random thing I thought about. Jell-O. Do you like Jell-O? I don't mind Jell-O. What flavor of Jell-O would be your favorite? All right. So Jermaine says, how many vehicles are allowed in an intersection when making a left turn? Well, only one can turn at a time, but is there a limit to how many vehicles? If it's a large intersection, it can accommodate more than one past the stop line. I don't think there's anything specifically stating more than one. The biggest thing, though, and I call it charging the intersection, like charging a magazine, you're charging an intersection. Usually it's one, because it's not reasonable to take up more space and interfere with traffic. The big thing is, if you have more than one in there, there's a very high likelihood that when the light changes, more than one vehicle is going to be stuck there. And of course, you have a responsibility to clear the intersection once the light changes. You have to exit it. And the problem when you have more than one is that the likelihood of you getting stuck because there's no room in the street you're trying to go to is higher. So I would suggest it's one, but I don't think there's a legal limit that is prescribed. And it might be, and I could be wrong, but I don't think there is. Is lane splitting legal in Ontario? So fun fact, lane splitting isn't legal anywhere, at least not in Canada. There's no law that permits it, nor is there a specific law that prohibits it. However, the activity is best described as careless driving, stunt driving, or even criminal dangerous driving, depending on the observations an officer makes when they are observing you. So it's not legal, and it matches the descriptions of other offenses. So that's the thing. In California, where it's specifically legal, it's also acknowledged as being dangerous. People say, well, it's much safer for motorcycles. Baloney. It's in certain conditions I can see a benefit as a motorcycle rider myself, but it's not actually safer. The big thing there is the California Highway Patrol actually suggests a maximum speed differential for your safety because the bigger problem tends to be in the behavior that changes and escalates it from careless to stunt to dangerous is that speed differential and the mixing it of weaving through traffic. For anyone who is listening to me going, what is he talking about? Lane splitting is when a motorcycle rides between two lanes of traffic, essentially making their own lane in the middle, riding the dotted line, essentially. It's not legal, it's not safe. And if you have not been paying attention in Ontario, we have some interesting drivers. They're having some problems navigating the road because they're too busy on their telephones. And you want to put your life in their hands, even if it was legal. I don't know if I'd want anyone to do it. Now, that's different than riding the shoulder, which is also illegal, but I wanted to differentiate that lane splitting is not riding on the shoulder, that's riding off the roadway, and it's an entirely different problem, also illegal. Just to acknowledge Thin White Line Interceptor, who is coming through on Instagram, along with, is it Kunal? I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm making a mess of it. Hopefully I got that right. Can you pull a U-turn on a red light, say Okay, so Ryan is asking the question, can you pull a U-turn on a red light? And I should say it louder for the people in the back. No, you cannot make a U-turn or left turn on, well, actually, let me back up. You can't make a U-turn on a red light. You cannot enter the intersection on a red light unless, or let me specify, you can only make a right turn on a red light if it's legal to do so, if it's safe to do so, if you've come to a complete stop, and then you can make a right turn on red, assuming there's no sign prohibiting it. Left turns can be made on a red light in the event that you're on a one-way street turning onto another one-way street and there's no signs prohibiting it. Of course, it has to be that safe and you have to come to a complete stop. But a U-turn does not provide you that opportunity. You must wait until it's green, and people who are doing it differently are doing it wrong and deserve to get tickets. Tickets. So the question, just I'll clear out the queue here on Instagram, 71 and a 50 zone. It's the sign shows 60 begins, but the cop doesn't show me radar. Not sure if it's me. Let me back that up again. 71 and a 50, it's the sign shows 60 begins. So if there's a sign that says 60 begins and it's an arrow, or 60, it was usually say ahead. Like when it's got the arrow, it says it's coming. If you're at the sign that shows 60 begins, then you're still speeding if it's 71. But the big thing you have to understand is they're not measuring you at the sign. They may have stopped you at the sign, but they're measuring you, possibly 100 meters before the sign. So they don't have to show you. Okay, they don't have to. You don't have to be shown, or there's no legal obligation for a police officer to show you the device that read your speed. So if I use a laser speed measurement device, I get a speed. It doesn't necessarily lock in. Depends on the manufacturer, depends on the setup for each individual service. And if it does lock in, it locks in the last speed. I could have made 3 measurements, and I can charge you for the highest of the 3. I don't have to charge you with the last measurement. So there's a number of reasons why showing it to you won't make a difference. But I often show it to people just to make a point. And apparently I got your name pronunciation perfectly. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I am so happy when I don't mess up names. I grew up in people, and actually I get some very interesting pronunciations. Sean, like Sean Connery, the legend, should be easy. However, I get Cian, I get Scene. What else do I get? I'm sure there's other ones I've got that I don't remember. Anyway. How many accidents happen by speed alone? Speed alone is a fun one. So speed is a situation or speed amplifies other things. So speed alone, just going fast, cars don't just implode because of speed. By doing 10 over, you don't just magically collide with something. Speed in conjunction with inattention, in conjunction with rapidly changing events in your future, the future you're driving into, those things in combination with speed cause collision. Speed alone rarely, I would say, is the collision, the single causation of the collision. Obviously, it does happen when people are just going too fast and lose control. But I'm assuming you're trying to justify speed with the question. I don't have a good answer for you, other than it contributes. It's a contributing factor. But I like the question. I do. I like any conversation starter that allows us to discuss important stuff and things. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, please hit the screen, follow us, share the live stream. Really helps us get the message out. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to make access to information about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff easy and fun. Kind of make it fun and entertaining. Usually, I have my voice at 100%, but voice is only part of the package. We're trying to share good information. So if you would be so kind as to hit that button until your finger goes numb, hearts help, likes help promote the live. We like it, and we don't get paid. TikTok's not sending us a creator fund. That's not what this is. This is not about hitting a certain number so we can get a bonus toaster. It's because we want to help the most number of people possible. Okay. This is an interesting question. I'm sure everyone will have lots to discuss here. At a traffic stop for tinted windows, are they allowed to enforce a further search of any other mods only with one mods caught? So to paraphrase or to rephrase, if I pull you over for tinted windows, can I do a complete inspection on your vehicle to ensure that you don't have a catalytic converter removed, or a proper exhaust pipe, or lowered suspension, or proper seat belts, or a child's car seat installed? I can inspect the entire car from top to bottom, inside and out. Absolutely. We are afforded that ability under the HTA because we are enforcing the act. And I could even call a friend and have them attend. I mean, we have mechanics that are police officers, and we can go really deep diving. The fact is that most of what I'm going to be looking for in a modified vehicle is something that I can do without being a mechanic. And so the simple answer is we can do a top to bottom, inside and out search or inspection of the vehicle for mechanical fitness. We are able to take your license plates if we find that it is unfit for the road, and that's a bad day at the office for you. But tinted windows are really just a great way of advertising that we should be looking at your vehicle. And tinted windows on their own could have you lose your license plates. If your vehicle has license plates that are, or not license plates, your windows are tinted beyond 30% light blockage, that's clearly an unsafe motor vehicle. If you have tint on your front windshield, I don't have to do anything else, you lose your plates. But I'm going to look for everything because I'm going to charge for the individual items. Cool. How much trouble with straight pipe my neighbor car without him knowing? What? You want to straight pipe your neighbor's car like while he sleeps so he wakes up and hears a rumble? I'm gonna go with like criminal mischief, possibly theft. It's an interesting plan, but I'd say don't do it. And then of course your neighbor who decides to drive after you've modified against his will his vehicle, that he'd be eligible for a no exhaust. Yeah, no exhaust, no muffler charge, and probably unnecessary noise. Oh, I got some funny ones today. I appreciate these questions. I answer them seriously, even though they're meant as jokes, because someone somewhere wants to know. Okay, Evandro wants to know, in which case did driver is supposed to go to jail? Which offense? There's a lot of different offenses that could result in jail time. Driving with no insurance, driving while suspended, stunt driving, those all have a potential of putting you in jail because the courts can determine or can impose up to a 6-month jail sentence. Is it common? No. And then of course impaired driving. There's any charge that results in death. I mean, these are usually, well, the charge doesn't result in death, but The fact that you may have killed someone is the death part I'm referring to. So yeah, there's a lot. I saw someone said Ahsoka. Is that Kayla? I gotta watch the episode. Okay, but there's a lot of potential for criminality. The criminal stuff has the potential of jail. There's a lot of jail potential. Very often charges are resolved without jail. What is this? Did you say? Did you mean what you said? Akela says children are plague bearers. Oh yes, you did mean plague bearers. No matter how much you love them, and they kiss and slobber all over you like puppies sometimes, and you get all the germs. I want to vent. I'm sick and tired of people running the yellow red lights, not coming to a full stop. Preach! I am right there with you. I watch, and I have a great video of a cyclist that not only runs a stop sign, but then fails to yield for the pedestrians that had just entered the crosswalk. I was hoping that the heavens would open up and lightning. Anyway, it drives me crazy when people do things that are so blatantly selfish and dangerous, and just because they don't care, or maybe they're asleep, maybe they really care, but they were meditating while they were driving and didn't notice the people. Anyway, your pet peeve is my pet peeve. Okay, Ryan Pin says, "Oh, have you been watching? Is it Ashoka or A-H Ahsoka? I think you got it spelled wrong there." And yeah, anyway, me being nitpicky. Not gonna lie, latest episode has the potential for best lightsaber battle. So I saw last week's. I've not seen this week's, and I don't know when I'll have time to sit down. I watch it with my kids. It is a family show. Lightsabers are us. Michael jumps in with a good morning. Question about moped. Laws surrounding moped, plates, registration, insurance, licensing, etc. The answer is yes. It's a motorcycle license that's required for a moped. It is a gas-powered, power-assisted bicycle-ish thing, but it requires a motorcycle license. You can stick with a low-power motorcycle license. You don't have to go for a full M, but it is always a good thing to get your full license, I think. It has to be registered, plated, and insured, so you're on the money. Can I drive in Canada with a Serbian license? I think that a Serbian license would be acceptable. MTO can confirm that for you. In fact, if you go to trafficcop.ca, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Hey, let's do that. I'm going to scroll down. So let's do this so everybody can join in. If you go to, I'm not sure I like this new one. Okay. If you go to trafficcop.ca, that just really takes you to my link tree. If you go to the very bottom, you can go to useful links. If you find, where's my Canadian flag? I'm sure there we are. New residents and visitors to Canada. If you hit that, of course, it opens a new window, which means I can't share it here. Let's go to the new window, driving in Canada. Okay. This is where you can get all sorts of information about driver's licenses and whether or not they accept, and all the rules for each province. And I know that everyone's going, how long is he going to be doing this? This is for newcomers. Is it? Well, I would say visitors too. Okay, there's another site that they'll have to find for you. If you go to trafficcop.ca and click the send me a message button, I'll dig into it, because I opened this. I went further down the rabbit hole than I would have normally, but now I want to give you an answer, and I now want to know. Generally speaking, we'll talk in generalities. If you have a foreign license and you are visiting here, then yes, as a visitor, you could generally drive with a foreign license. If your license is not in English, which chances are it's not, you need to get a international driving permit that is issued by your home country that basically translates it to English. They go together. An IDP does not replace your driver's license, it's a translation card. Those two together allow you to drive here as a visitor. Generally, it's up to 6 months. If you become a resident, you have 30 days to register your vehicle, That's separate. You have 60 days, I believe, to be a visitor using sorry, not a visitor, but a new resident until you have to apply for a local Ontario driver's license. Yes, that's the story. So I do want to find out a more complete answer for you. So please use that form on trafficcop.ca. Send me a message so I can dig down the rabbit hole and find all the information for you. Big Jeff Fresh is here. Awesome. What is this? There's a guy in Sydney that rides a seated e-kick scooter. I often say, man, I wish we had the same rules as GTA. The seated e-kick scooter is a motorcycle in Ontario. You put a seat on an e-kick scooter, it's instantly motorcycle. You can't have a motorcycle on an e-kick scooter. There's a lot of rules. And hey, those rules are outlined on a link I have posted on trafficcop.ca. Okay. What do we got here? Scrolling back. Okay, let's do some quick scrolling. There's a whole bunch of questions here. Question about skidoos. Skidoos. Is it skidoo or skidoo? Okay, a comment about Brazil from Evandro. We'll come back to that. What is that? Okay, we'll talk about this. I got hit. Question about collisions. Awesome. Oh, interesting. Sean as CN. Yeah. One of the teaching areas. Okay, we talk about that. Can officers on bicycles perform speed violation stops? Yeah, we can talk about that. Can I drive to my insurance office to pay for my license if it's expired? I think you've conflated two things. We'll talk about that. Only able to quickly pop. Oh, AJ the Awesome. I'll put you on screen just because you're here. Hope to see you at the Hamilton. So I really want to go to the Hamilton Comic Con and visit my friends from Chips. That's the plan. I might have some issues getting there. It's a big weekend, but I really want to go. So just for anyone who's wondering what I'm talking about, let's put Hamilton. Let's put it on the screen. Hamilton Comic Con. Okay. September 23rd and 24th. I am sharing it. Here we go. Share. And who is front and center? It's Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox. And I don't want to go so far as to say my buddies, but I did go bowling with them both. So maybe I can get away with saying buddies. But these were my heroes. These are the influences that fueled my desire to become a police officer. If you have no idea what this show is, it is the greatest television show ever made. I'm fairly confident when I make that claim that no one could prove me wrong. Okay, it was the 70s and 80s. I grew up in it. It is absolutely what motivated me to become a cop. These guys are awesome. Eric is actually an active police officer. He they have reserve officers. I believe he's a reserve officer status, but he is awesome. And Larry is I believe he was a Marine, and he's an all-around good guy. I'm really impressed by both of them. If you don't follow them on social media, you should. But I'd love to go back and hang out with them again. Because I went to LA, I was hanging out with them, and I went bowling with them. Bowling. That's really good. I need water. Last thing I need to do is to lose my voice. I kind of use it a lot. All right. I am not sure what this message is. We'll come up to it. Hang on a second. What does it say? Okay. Question about HTA and search. Okay. Question about tinted windows. We can talk about that. Can I register a car but not? Okay. Okay. Let's deal with some of the ones in queue so you can stop listening to me read questions and not answer them. Okay. So this is can my skidoo or on my skidoo, I can't cross the road. Can I jump it legally? I'm not touching pavement. So there's rules about these vehicles and having them driven on the road. So the question is, can they jump it? I'm going to say that's going to be careless or dangerous driving, and probably a bad idea. But this is really a question best left for the good Sergeant Murray Campbell, who's not here today and thus can't answer it. But I wanted to acknowledge your question, even though I'm not going to answer it, even other than to say I think that sounds really dangerous and likely illegal. In Brazil, we have a lot of speed cameras installed and on the posts everywhere in the city. Why doesn't Toronto have this type of prevention? I wish we had it. I was in London. They have automated enforcement everywhere. I think they should have them on every street. Absolutely every. I was having an argument with someone this morning who says, "Stop telling people to slow down. I got to get to work." No, everyone needs to slow down, and no one needs the speed. And the fact that we are not enforcing speed limits aggressively is what's allowing people this belief that it's okay. Well, I didn't get a ticket for doing 10 over. Maybe I can go do 20 over. Well, I didn't get a ticket doing 20 over. Maybe I can do 30 over. No, we need to give tickets to people doing 10 over so people slow down. If you think that we won't touch you until 30, people think they can go faster. That's not the case. Everyone needs to go slow. They need to do the speed limit. The limit is the limit, not the minimum. It is the maximum. That's why they call it maximum speed. I know it's tough, but the best is, so this morning, I did a voice recording because I was so frustrated. A tanker truck was high beaming me on the Don Valley Parkway. Truck 854, I think it was what it was. I got to call the company anyway. I got to talk to them. But yeah, I'm driving on the highway. I'm doing the speed limit because guess what? It's the speed limit. And this truck decided to high beam me. And we're talking a tanker truck, an 18-wheeler was high beaming me because he wanted to go faster. You can't go faster. It's the speed limit. I'm already doing it. So he passed me, going on to the far right corner. Why I was in the middle and not the right? Because the right was going to be getting off, and I wanted to go straight. So yeah, he passed me on the right, and then he crossed 3 lanes of traffic to go to the left. And you know what? We ended up at the same place at the same time. Completely unnecessary driving. Didn't get anywhere any faster. Just a bad driver driving a giant truck that can kill people. Just saying. Yeah. People need to slow down. And yes, I am going to call the company and have a discussion with the employer who owns the truck that person was driving, because they should know. Stephen Bell. I don't know what your question is, though. I most definitely dislike. I don't know. I don't know what your question. I'm going to skip it because I don't want to read it out loud because I don't get it. Okay. It's a collision question. I got hit and the damage is not over $2,000. Is there any other way I can get the guy who hit me to fix it? $2,000 is when you are legally required. You're obligated to report it. It's $2,000 amongst both vehicles. If it's just $2,000 on your vehicle, it's probably $1,000 or more on his vehicle. It's a legal requirement that you report it. That doesn't mean that insurance has to make a claim, but you are legally obligated to report it. If they want to pay for it and that makes you happy, great. I personally don't like side deals where people are asked to pay because very often they don't. So I would say your insurance is there for a reason. If you were rear-ended, if you were hit, they will still be responsible and your insurance company will pay, and they're on the hook. Their insurance is going to go up. You were hit and it was their fault. Your insurance doesn't go up or should not go up. And that's the story. So I would go make the report. I would make the claim and let them deal with the fact that they owe you, they're responsible for it. That's it. Ryan Pinn with a follow-up. One of my teaching areas is a 2-hour commute on a secondary highway. Over the summer, there have been an increase of skid marks going off the road from people driving too fast. But is that driving too fast only? And so that's a comment for anyone who wasn't here 5 minutes ago. There was a question about how many collisions are just speed alone. And even that one, I don't know if it's speed alone. That could have been driver who, saw a squirrel and it was like the sweetest squirrel he'd ever seen. So he didn't want to kill it. So he drove off the road to avoid killing the squirrel. I don't know. Would speed have saved the squirrel and prevented the driver from going off road? Probably. But is that speed the only factor in the collision? No, it was a contributing factor. Cute squirrels. They're dangerous. Can officers on bicycle perform speed violation stops, or do they carry portable devices? So we have portable radar or LiDAR devices. Could they be carrying one? Sure. But it is unlikely that they're going to go out and do speed enforcement on a bicycle. It's unlikely. Doesn't mean it's impossible, just it's unlikely. But there's no reason they couldn't. There's no stipulation that says if you're on a bicycle, you can't do laser enforcement. Excuse me. Yeah. Can I drive to the insurance office to pay for my license if it's expired? Your insurance office, you don't pay the insurance office for your license. That is the Ministry of the Service Ontario, who takes money and handles the licensing stuff on behalf of the MTO, Ministry of Transportation. Your insurance office is a private company, and you need insurance before you drive anywhere. So I just want to make sure I said earlier, you've conflated two things. Yeah. And if you have an expired license, you have no license, thus you cannot drive to go and renew your license because you're not licensed. Right. I don't know what the question here is. I'm assuming it could have been a typo. The question is, are there any penalties for drivers with Pete on their laps? Is Pete their pet cat? Like, what is Pete? Is that a typo? It could be a typo. Let me put that away for the time being. So I don't know what the question. Pet. The question was pet. Okay. Thank you, moderator Shap. So if you have a pet on your lap, you are driving while crowded and you're carelessly driving. You cannot drive with an animal on your lap. So there are penalties. Careless driving, I believe, is $3.95 and 6 demerit points. That's a pretty good one. The lower offense would be the drive while crowded. Dr. Nick has questions about the search authority of the Highway Traffic Act. So are you looking at the section specific to radar device? Or are you looking at the section that is specific or that is general? So, yeah. Tinted windows, the Grinch. Let's see. So I have question about tinted windows. So we are looking for a car for my daughter. We went to a dealership and the windows were so dark. I mentioned to the dealer, I'm like, are these legal? Their reply was, yup, even though I am now a tinted window expert. They are wrong, obviously, and you being an expert because you've been qualified by the show to know more than the average person. And they are, if they were to certify that, they would be eligible to lose their ability to certify vehicles, or at least the mechanic. Mechanics actually have tint meters. They have to use those tint meters, even though majority of them will sign off anything and not use a tint meter. I say the majority because I'm generalizing. I'm not actually calling out individual mechanics. But I did have a conversation and with a mechanic recently, 2 years ago, fairly recent, and they were explaining that they get spot inspections and they have to show that they have the device. Whether they use it or not is another story, but they have to show that they have the device. And, some are less happy about having to own one because apparently they're fairly expensive. In any case, to certify a vehicle, you can't have more than 30% light blockage. And even if you do get certified, you're still eligible for other tickets. In fact, if you have super, super dark tinted windows, we'll take your license plates. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because the Grinch knows the answers because he's here all the time. Can I register a car but not put a plate on it in case it needs repairs? Well, so there's a temporary permit for taking it out of the province. I don't think that would be applicable. You're an Ontario resident. I think you get a temporary plate. I don't think you have the option. I don't know, actually. I've never, you asked the darndest things. Because it's not a scenario that I've ever encountered, I don't know. When you transfer it into your name, maybe you can transfer it into your name without plates. I don't know. But I like the question. Chase can be relied upon to ask me questions that no one has ever asked before. We should have, you can have your own TV show. The questions that nobody else cares about. Well, it's good. They're good. I'm making fun of them, but they're really good questions. I just no one has ever thought to put them in that particular order. Um, will police chase motorcyclists and call a helicopter for one rider on a speeding infraction? You know what? Here's the thing. It depends. There's no yes, no for anything. It all depends. You're saying a speeding infraction. It's unlikely that we're going to go that far for a speeding infraction. If it is a speeding infraction combined with extreme dangerous behavior, because speeding alone, like 10 over, no, we're not going to engage in a police chase for 10 over. Does that mean we will not, stop them or follow them home or phone a friend? Put a look, a notification to be, we have a vehicle that took off on us. If someone takes off on us, it's new charges. It's no longer a speeding infraction. It is now, failing to stop for police, fleet police. There's potential criminality now. We've escalated things. I would just encourage people to be adults. If you're going to drive a car, a motorcycle, and the police try and pull you over, pull over, take your licks. Don't do stupid things. We generally get you in the end, one way or another. So it gets worse if you break more laws to avoid the little laws. And of course, don't do the stupid stuff like the stunt driving and it gets so complicated. More paperwork. Can we talk about that? The question is, how long outside of Canada can I drive? How long people outside of Canada can drive in Canada? So this is if you're visiting, it's generally 6 months, and you can extend that with an IDP sometimes. But the question is, how long are you in Canada, and is your status visitor? Because once you reside here, things change. A resident can only drive with a foreign license for 60 days. A guest can stay longer and use that license, but it's complicated. What is this? Can someone writing M1 license that day, same day, driving a motorcycle on the road with no training? Yes, and I did it because I got my well, it wasn't an M1 then. It was a learner's permit for motorcycle, and I wrote the test, and I got on a motorcycle and I rode essentially. Do I think that we should have training, mandatory training? It would probably help a lot of people not get hurt. I had experience on motorcycles prior to riding on the road. I rode off-road. I rode bicycle my whole life. Like I got on a motorcycle and it was second nature to me. Did I know everything? No. Would it have been beneficial for me to have a course? Yes. And but it's just not required at the moment. So that's that. Okay, would we have this? Oh. So Defiant Order Film says, I work as a highway patrol truck clearing off the highways from any stall MVI code whites on bridge. How do you feel about us having red and blues? We're 9 out of 10 on scene before police. It's very, in Ontario, it's very specifically outlined. So do I have personal feelings about it? I don't. Are you classified as an emergency vehicle versus are you, even tow trucks? They're before we get there too. Should they have red and blues? No. Police, fire, ambulance are and MTO, people with stopping authority, because they can be confused because they mean something different than a hazard. So really, you guys should have ambers only, and according to law anyway. Would I lose sleep over it if the law changed and let you? No, it's not a personal thing for me. I'm just telling you what the law says. Okay. You got more. Oh. So I'm only equipped with ambers. The reds and blues may make the traffic give us room we need. Well, the big thing is that the slow down, move over rules, you are needed. You need space to be safe. There's no question about it. When people are unsafe around you, that's a problem. It's a problem for anyone who works on the road. But I don't think that, I think that I've been to enough collisions, and I've to investigate people who have driven into police cars to know that red and blues attract a lot of attention, maybe too much attention. People want to look at them more than they want to look at ambers. It might make you actually more of a risk or put you at more risk. Okay. Question. Motorcycle won't set off red lights. So what can we do? Go through? No button. Right turn, U-turn, legal when safe. Right turn, go around the block, or right turn, go into a gas station, whatever the case is. But going through is not legal in Ontario. There are states that have dead red laws that say if it's malfunctioning light, you can ignore it after a certain period of time. We don't hit that, or we don't have that. I read hit on the screen when I'm speaking. Yeah, I would suggest looking at rare earth magnets to mount them to the bottom of your motorcycle. I've heard a lot of people having success with that, and the reason is you need to disrupt the cable, the field, the magnetic field that's inside the ground. That's what trips the light. But you can't just ignore it. I mean, here's the deal. If I approach a light on my motorcycle and it's not triggering, and there's another car behind, I will signal them. I'll wave to them, get closer, because I want their vehicle to trigger the inducted coil I think it's called an inducted coil. Anyway, the thingamajiggy in the ground. I want them to help me. But if there's nobody around, I'm going to do the right turn. If there's a button, I would get off the bike and hit the button and people say, "Oh, it's unsafe. How can you tell people to get off their motorcycle? It's unsafe." We're talking about nobody around. If it was a busy environment, you wouldn't need to worry about getting out or getting off the bike because there's a dozen cars lining up behind you. They're going to trigger the light. So it all depends on your scenario. It's all about scenarios. Okay. Anyone watching who doesn't know who I am has not been paying attention to TikTok in the last couple of years. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. It's kind of my thing. I like it. I like it a lot. And if you've got questions, we've got usually answers. And I'm happy to share those with you Monday to Friday from 10 to 11, unless we have like an alternate universe day, like 10:30 we started with Jerry Agar. Later today, we're going to be on with AM 640 with the Kelly Contreras show. So we do a lot of stuff and things outside of this particular Ask a Traffic Cops show, but we do it all with a smile. And usually we have a really good time. So if you've got questions, we got answers, and we like to share those. Let's go here. Let's go. What do we got? We got more stuff to flag. Are blue fog lights illegal? I'm going to keep going back, but I'll answer that while I'm scrolling. The answer is they are illegal. You can only project light forward that is amber or white. Anything else is not legal, and you can be charged for it. Now, if you have them mounted and they're not emitting light, they're not illegal in that state. I don't know why you'd want them, but yeah. You cannot project the light in colors other than white or amber. To the rear, you can't have anything other than amber or red. And people always say, well, what about the license plate light? Well, technically, that's not projecting outward. We could argue that it is, but it isn't. It's not a bulb that is considered a projector bulb. Whereas, something over 300 lumens or 300 candela is a projector bulb. Anyway, let's go here. Oh. So Jermaine Watt, who is the TPS pilot cop, did I say that right? Great show. We're talking about ships. Great show. Motivated him to become a police officer, and he loves motorcycles as a result of them. Yeah, although I will say that I don't think that the K1000, which is what they use on the show, is the end-all be-all bike. I did see a beautiful one, and when I was at a dinner with the guys. There was one night where I went bowling, and the other night was a gala, and someone had shipped their motorcycle from, I think, Washington. They had restored a bike. It was like perfect, and they all the cast signed. Well, the cast that was in attendance signed it. So just an awesome night, and awesome motorcycle. But it wouldn't be a bike that I would want to ride, other than to be able to say, like I would have bought that motorcycle just to have it because it was so cool. Like make it into a coffee table or something, park it in my living room. And I know my wife is watching and she's saying, do not buy a motorcycle to make a coffee table. Question. Okay, we'll put this on screen while I search for other stuff. Can a cop pull you over for smoking as probable cause? Debate between a boyfriend and I. Smoking while driving? Is that what you mean? Because a police officer can pull you over just to make sure you're a licensed driver, to make sure you're an insured driver, to make sure, insured vehicle, to make sure that your vehicle is safe, to make sure that you're sober. If there's a belief that you're smoking marijuana, absolutely, because we're going to arrest you if you're doing that. So yeah, we could totally pull you over for that, for smoking anything, because it's not that we're we're checking your sobriety, we're checking your license status. But that may have been the reason we looked at you in the first place. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of questions. We've got 10 minutes until the door to new questions will end. In the meantime, if you haven't already followed us and liked us and subscribed to us and commented and double tapped the screen to make likes things, please do that. We'd love to have you as a follower. We'd love to be able to keep you in the loop when we go live again. And, we generally like to see our numbers grow just to know that we're doing good and more people are finding us. It just makes us feel nice. That's really what it is. There's no bonus. There's no free toaster if we hit 1 million, although I really want to hit 1 million followers on TikTok, of course. But I'd like to have 1 million followers on every platform because I'm competitive. That's what it is. I'm competitive. We are the largest TikTok channel for educational police content on the planet. That is pretty cool, even if we don't grow any more than we already have. Okay. Scrolling. Oh, it scrolled too many times. See, when the updates come in, then I lose kind of flag one here. If you were in a police vehicle, what charges would you lay following too close? I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what your question is. If you were in a police vehicle, what charges would you lay following too close in light use? I don't know what we're talking about. Can I get a stunting ticket by speed alone? Yes, you can. Speed alone is stunt. In fact, speed alone could be dangerous criminal charges. So yes. A lot of people think that there's stunt. So stunting ticket is absolutely, it has like 14 different triggers, but one of them is doing 40 over in an area that has speed limit under 80, doing 50 over in an area that has a speed limit of 80 or over, and doing 150 anywhere. That's speed alone. That's stunt driving. But speed alone can also trigger criminal dangerous driving, which is obviously criminal. It's arrestable. Well, you get arrested for stunt too. Can you pull up someone's license that's American, just like a Canadian one? Yes. Yes, we can. We can do Interpol searches. We can do all sorts of stuff. Yes, Big Jeff Fresh. I imagine that the phone call will be interesting. I do this a lot because it makes sense to. Oh, okay. Ian is friends with Paul Glaser from. Is it Glazer? Paul Glazer? I don't want to mispronounce any names, but from Starsky and Hutch. So the person who organizes the events for Chips, I believe, started with Starsky and Hutch because she is a friend of Paul's too. Ian, you should reach out if you don't already. If you don't already know each other, you may know each other. Maybe you should know everyone. But reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with. Anyway, yeah. Unless I'm confused, maybe it's a different person. Anyway, we'll talk, Ian. Can I drive my car with just fire and theft insurance coverage? No, that's called storage. You cannot be on the road with that. That is illegal. Like a lot illegal. Like $5,000 to $25,000 in fines illegal. Like up to 6 months in jail illegal. Don't do that. That is not okay. And I've charged people like a lot for doing that. Like they get smart. They put insurance on one of their two cars, and then they drive with fire and theft because they think they're getting away with something. And then they meet me, and I crush their dreams. And I do that because they're putting people at risk. Driving without insurance is not okay. It's not giving it to the man. It's not screwing the insurance company. It's causing problems for other people when you get involved with the collision. But anyway, it's just a bad day at the office. No one should do that. And it's absolutely not legal. I'm not alleging that you were planning on breaking the law. I'm glad you're clarifying the question. That's why we're here. But it's just that it happens so often. People do a lot of things that are dangerous and not okay. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So So Jermaine Watt at Copper in Toronto says or asks, can you talk about tints to the front windshield? I'm starting to see a trend. I always have time for you, brother. The deal is that windshield tint is absolutely illegal. And if you see someone with tinted windows that is applied with a film, we've seen some strange Mercedes stuff that is allegedly, and I say allegedly because I have not confirmed with Mercedes, the manufacturer, or the dealerships if this is baked into the glass. If it's being added aftermarket, it is absolutely 100% prohibited. We would take the plates off the car. It's unsafe for the road, but they can't sell those. They can't import them. They're not. They don't meet the code. They can't be sold here. So I doubt that they're factory. Or sorry, if they're anything, they got to be factory. Anything aftermarket tint, absolutely prohibited. Doesn't matter if it's that what do they call it? Chameleon tint that lets more light in. No tint on the front windshield at all. The only exception is if your vehicle is 2016 or older, you can have 3 inches of brow across the top. That's it. 2016 and older, 2017 and newer cannot have anything on the front windshield. I've had people pull it off roadside to avoid having their plates seized. It's unsafe motor vehicle just for being there. So don't do that. And yes, it's a trend. And people say, well, it's allowed in Florida. It's allowed here. It's not allowed in Florida. I talked to Florida. Florida said no. People use Florida as like, well, they can do it. Why can't I? Well, they can't. But they're seeing a trend there too. So it's very interesting. All right, what do we got here? Scrolling. Do you actually respond to chats? Yes. Okay. Although these are like 20. This was asked 28 minutes, but we've really had a whole bunch. How big is the truck? Can I drive it with a G license? I don't know what that's. This is what is this? Amanda, please, but not Bynes. Okay. As the questions stream in, it keeps scrolling. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we talked about that. John and Punch, I may just make the trip down to the 401. Yes, you should totally. In fact, I would, if I can make it there, I'd love to do a meetup there, and we can, go say hello to the gents. And by the way, just really good. Did I mention really good guys? Really approachable. I got to hang out with them, and also the chap who played, it's Chris Pine's dad, Robert Pine. He was the sergeant. Amazing guy. We sat and spoke for like 45 minutes before the event started. Really, really solid guys. And anyway, we'll talk about. I'll do a whole. Actually, I have a show. We talked about it when I just got back. When did I go? You can go back into the history and find it. But great guys. And follow up from Ian. Back in 1999, I met the boys from Adam 12 on the show in New Jersey. No kidding. This is Adam 12. Is an older police show for anyone who's saying, what is he talking about? Okay, scrolling down, because here we go. In the lineup at the drive-thru, what are the chances of getting a ticket for using your Apple phone? None, because you can't be charged on private property for that particular charge. Highway Traffic Act has limited access or reach onto private property. Confusing your plates, one thing we can charge. Failing to remain at the collision is another. Stunt driving, obviously, another. But that particular offense is not an offense on private property. It needs to be on the highway. Are steering wheel knobs permitted or allowed? So I used to think they were illegal. I cannot find anything to support that under the Highway Traffic Act. They are actually devices that are being installed today for people who have disabilities or require accessories to help. Do I think they're a good idea? For the average person, no. They were intended in older vehicles without power steering, giant big steering wheels, to help crank that steering wheel over. In modern vehicles, you don't need that. And I think they're more harm than good. Not to mention they're gonna hurt if you meet that steering wheel at high speed. You're trying to get the airbag to be this big, soft, cushy thing to land in, even though it deploys at 200 miles per hour. It is not. Sergeant Contreras, thank you. It is not a good thing when you are, smashing your face on it and possibly being concussed as a result of it. Well, you're probably concussed anyway. Okay. Jermaine, thank you very much. This is a great show. Love watching it. You got to be on the show. We got to get you on here. So smoking with kids in the vehicle is illegal. If you were smoking in Ontario with children under the age of 16, it is against the law. You would be getting tickets. Can someone drift on their own property? Legally, no. Can I be stopped by an officer for a sobriety check and no offense? Yes. In fact, not only can you be stopped to check sobriety, even with no signs of alcohol on your breath, no admission of alcohol consumption, nothing that would be able to create reasonable suspicion that you have alcohol in your system. Under the law in Canada now, we can demand under mandatory alcohol screening, we can do a sobriety check by way of a screening device to anyone. In fact, some officers will do a sobriety check with a roadside screening device on every single person they stop. And to do it just for that purpose is one of the legal reasons to pull people over. Ian says 78. Yes, this is true. Ian says that Section 78.1 of the HTA does not apply to amateur radio operators with two-way radios, not phones in their vehicle. Yes, this is true. It also exempts some, I believe it's commercial vehicle operators for two-way radios. There's a bunch of exemptions. In fact, you can have certain folks in the testing of equipment, there's a long description, but yeah, they may be able to have laptops in their vehicles and permitted to use them. What is the charge for driving with no seatbelt? It's not driving with a seatbelt. Is it 2 or 3 demerit points? 200 and frickin' frack. Is it 240? Hang on, seatbelt. You know what? I got to tell you, I've written like a dozen seatbelt tickets in a decade. It's just not. Most people wear their seatbelt, which is shocking, right? They do everything else wrong, but they wear the seatbelts. It's 240. 240. How many demerit points? 2. Passengers don't get demerit points, but it's still the same money. We had Kawasaki's in the OPP for 4 years back in 78. No kidding. I did not know that. Which model of the truck we can drive with a G license? Most light vehicles are, until you start getting into, even a 24-foot straight truck you can drive with a G license. What do you guys do with the income from the channels? We don't get income from the channels. There's no income. This is a service to the public. We don't get paid to do it. We do it to provide service. We're here to serve. This is all about you. It's amazing. We're the police. We provide our knowledge, experience, even our tickets. We do it. The act of writing the ticket doesn't cost you money. The paying the fines if you get a ticket costs money. And this is the weirdest business model. We try and tell people the rules in advance so no one breaks the law. I know, it's wild. What do we have here? Checking your mirrors every 8 seconds is the same as texting and driving. No, it's not. Checking your mirrors every 8 to 10 seconds is the way you drive safely to ensure that nothing is coming up and so you can know what's going on around your vehicle while being focused on traffic safety and driving safely. If you only stare out of the front of your vehicle and never check your mirrors, you're doing it wrong. You've got to be aware of what's going on around you. Putting your phone in your lap and texting your mom about what kind of pizza you want for dinner is not the same as checking your mirrors. And to make that suggestion is ridiculous. All right. Akila's got a meeting, so he's got to go. He says, stay safe. Remember, don't have a great day. Don't have a good day. Have a great day. Why are police radar illegal? Do you mean radar detectors? Because they allow people to, or at least give people the impression that they can break the law and only have to slow down to avoid detection by police. And it's contributing to making the roads unsafe. Speeding is illegal. It's unsafe. That's why it's illegal. So if we give you a device and allow you to have a device that allows you to speed and then slow down just to avoid a ticket, it's not helping. We're trying to catch those people and take away their driver's licenses. Is it eligible to ride an e-bike on the sidewalk when there is traffic? Not in Toronto. every jurisdiction, every municipality is going to have their own rules when it comes to e-bike operation and bicycle operation. In Toronto, it's illegal for anyone over the age of 14 to ride a bicycle on the, actually anyone 14 and over cannot ride on the sidewalk. They have to be on the road. So an e-bike requires you in the province of Ontario to be 16. Aside from the fact that they're completely banned, even if it was a pedal bike, you couldn't be on the sidewalk. Yes, Ian is absolutely correct. The chap who played Bear was at the dinner I was at, and he's a school teacher. He's a high school teacher now. Very cool guy, and yeah, actually, really interesting learning about how they did. His parents had a farm, and they did scenes for one of the episodes on the farm. I think it was involving a plane. Anyway, really, but yeah, he only pulled his gun. The only firearm scene in the entire, was it 6 seasons? I want to keep watching it again and again and again. And it's already 5 minutes after 11. The reason I'm mentioning that is because no new questions, unless I've got a couple that are flagged already. But Brody Greer, there we go. Football player, yes. This is the one. Okay. I have 9 questions that I flagged earlier, or 8 questions. We talked about this one, so 7 questions. How do you give someone a ticket holding an international license? Great question now. When we issue a ticket, we write it down with their name and their date of birth and all their information that we have. And the MTO will generate a unique identifier in our system for them, because obviously their license doesn't matter for the purpose. If they don't pay the fine here, they're suspended here, and they would be driving while suspended, even though they have a valid license elsewhere. So that's how it works. They get a ticket, they can pay it, they can choose not to pay it, they do whatever they want, but they will be suspended here if they don't, respond appropriately. Now you say international license. It's not an international license. It's a foreign license. Somewhere it is a place. It's not just license for the world. What people call an international license is really an international driving permit. All it is a translation card. That's it. That's the story. What is this? We talked about this. Are aftermarket steering wheels illegal? If you mean aftermarket steering wheels that do not possess airbags, like if you cannot take your airbag out. Yeah, there are some gold seal or red seal mechanics. They have the legal ability to do it, but it's like a $3,000 fine, I think, if you take it out. Don't quote me on that. Well, you can quote me, but I will tell you that I said I won't. Anyway, not sure, but it's not legal to remove. There is a charge for it, and if you take out your airbag and replace it with like a removable one or a fixed one without an airbag, you've broken the law. Approximately how much? Oh, and not only have you broken the law, but you potentially made your vehicle unsafe to the point of losing your license plates. Approximately how much would my car insurance premium go up if I got 2 demerit points in Ontario? Well, that's a funny question that I don't have an answer for, because 2 demerit points is the system we use to track, or the ministry uses to track whether or not your license should be suspended. It's not the factor for whether or not your insurance goes up. The fact that you have a conviction at all is a reason that your insurance would go up, whether it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, there's no 10, but whatever they get, your demerit points is a side conversation. The number of convictions you get. So if you get one for not having your driver's license on you, not having your insurance on you, not having your ownership on you, that's 3 tickets that they're minor, but together they're a major, and that could cause your insurance company to raise your rates. Speeding ticket of any speed, those are things that the insurance companies are going to look at to evaluate the level of risk that you are exposing them to. Their goal is to not have risk. The more risk you have, the worse it is for them. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to pay out. They're not in the business of paying out. That's why people get so upset with them, because they work against you. But they're a necessity. This was, what do the Toronto Police Radio code or acronym for a motor vehicle MVC, motor vehicle collision, MVC? And it could be an FTR MVC, but we'll just say it's a collision. We are the most plain talk radio operators in the world. Everyone has all these great codes and they sound so cool. We just say, we're going to a crash. We're going to a collision. It's a failed to remain. There's nothing fancy or secret squirrel about it. Anyway, thanks so much for spending time with us. I will be back tomorrow to do it all over again. If you don't already follow us, please do, because that way you get notified when we go live. I'm going to go make some videos, and then at 12:30, I'll be back on the air with AM 640, the Kelly Contreras Show, to talk about some topical topics from the news and stuff, and we'll probably get some callers from Ontario, because they're a show that's all over Ontario. So we'll do that at 12:30. Welcome to join us again. In fact, we'd love it if you did. And that's it. That's all. I'm going to play this wonderful song called The Traffic Song. It was written and performed and recorded right here at Traffic Services by an officer. Well, I recorded it and she sang it.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
It's a fun song, isn't it? I think it's a fun song. See you soon. Stay safe, drive sober, park legally, and smile. It looks good on you.